Hey everyone, this is P4L, and in today's Transformers review we'll be taking a look at Maketoys MTRM-01, their take on a Masterpiece scale Chromedome and the first of their remaster series. So as always, let's go ahead and get started with packaging review. And as you can see, you get a really nice box. It's not overly huge given how large this figure is, but it's a really nice size, really well laid out in terms of the front. It has a very MP-esque look to it with the robot and alt modes kind of in the same position, but it looks really nice. So it's also a really sturdy box, so you don't have to be concerned. Well, if you got Maketoys Nemesis, you know that they had problems with boxes and damage there. Not so with this one. This one's pretty sturdy. But yeah, you get to see MTRM-01, again the first of their remaster lines, and his name, Cupola, which is apparently the correct way to pronounce that word. I did not know that. I was calling it Cupola, like Cupola, but that's wrong. So on the top you just get another picture of Cupola. Come around to the side, not much here. It's actually kind of odd what they decided to show here. It's just one leg, actually, if you look at it this way, his lower leg. On the other side, see, this makes sense. You can barely see it because it's dark, but this is his head, so I can kind of get that. I just don't know why they showed a leg on the other side. And on the back, you again get kind of Masterpiece-esque layout of the product with the front and back view. You get a look at his accessories, his Headmaster. You can see his chest opens up to show his stats, his G1 stats. A little bit of the back, and again another picture of the foot. I don't know why they keep showing off the foot, especially the back here since it's hollow. Then you can see alt mode pics at the bottom. Alright, and last but not least, we can look at the very bottom of the box. And it just shows you what's included, which isn't a whole heck of a lot. It's just Cupola and his two weapons, and of course his Headmaster. But yeah, let's go ahead and get Cupola out of package. Out of the box, this is what you get with Cupola. You get his instructions, which are just of the folded variety, and they do a decent job. I think some of the parts could be a little bit more clear, but you have my video to help you through that. You get two blasters, fairly large blasters. It all one solid red color, which is a little disappointing. Would have liked some paint apps, but we'll put that off to the side for now. And then of course you get Cupola himself. Alright, let's go ahead and get into robot mode review. Let's start off with a quick 360 of the figure. And right off the bat, you'll see just how nice this figure is. The overall details and resemblance to the Chromedome that we knew from our childhood is pretty uncanny. Actually, back here, let's just stop. There's a couple things that I want to point out in the back that bother me a bit. He does have hollow feet down here, and this doesn't actually clip in, or at least not on mine. It doesn't tab in anywhere very securely. It would have been nice if this tabbed in, and then up at the top here you have some hollowness there as well. Both of them are really designed for transformation, but it still would have been nice to get something to cover the hollowness up there. You get some nice rubber tires and nice chrome on each of these hubcaps, which is excellent. Well, I guess it's not hubcap, it's the actual wheel itself. But overall, in terms of just pure looks, this guy looks quite amazing, and he's quite huge. We'll do some comparisons in a little bit. Other things to point out, he does have a nice area here for an Autobot symbol. If you open him up, you do get some nice details in his chest, including his stats. Very G1 homage. Close that back up. And of course he has his Headmaster. We're going to go into detail with that a little bit later. He does feature quite a bit of die-cast, so the knees are both die-cast. We'll show off a little bit more diecast as we go through the review. But for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at his head sculpt. So zooming in on Chromedome's head, you can see a very faithful likeness of the Headmaster series with his face mask. He does rotate, and you can get a little bit of down motion depending on how you plug it in. So you can actually plug in the head either way. If you plug it in this way, his head's a little bit further to the front, but you can get him to look up. I don't think he's going to look up too much, but it's kind of nice that he has that capability should you want it, like if he's facing off against a combiner or something like that. One thing I will comment on is that he does have a bit of hollowness right up there, so unless you make sure that his kind of crest is down, you might see that gap, which is a bit unfortunate. I would have hoped that they would do a little bit better than that. But otherwise, a really, really great head sculpt, and we'll actually go into the Headmaster later. But we can go straight into articulation now. Articulation wise, we've already gone through the head. He has really great shoulders. He does not suffer from the problem that Fans Project's code had, where he couldn't raise his arms or get much articulation out of his shoulders. So this is actually a separate hinge here, and the shoulder socket itself is a ball joint, and that is connected to by a pin up here to the main body. So you actually have kind of 3 points of articulation here, so you can rotate the shoulders forward on that hinge. The ball joint itself gives you some freedom of motion, and then that hinge to the shoulder allows him to go all the way up like this. And unlike my last review of DX9's carry, he's not poking himself in the head. But as you expect, the ball joint gives a lot of freedom. He does have a bicep swivel, which is very nice. Nice elbow, 90-degree bend. And his hands do have wrist articulation. They're on a mushroom peg there. The hands are a little disappointing in that it's just one molded hand here. All 4 fingers are one molded piece, no additional pieces of articulation. The thumb is also molded in place. For a figure this size that's supposed to be masterpiece, I find this pretty disappointing, at least as far as third party goes. So I hope somebody does an upgrade set for Cupola. Coming down, he does have waist articulation. He does run into his backpack a bit, so you can move that out of the way just slightly to let him get more range, so he can go all the way around. But yeah, fold that backpack up, and the backpack doesn't actually peg in, it just sits on the back, very much like Fans Project's code. His legs are where things get really kind of disappointing as far as articulation goes. He runs into interference with these red pieces here. They didn't go through and make this articulated. It would have been nice to have those pieces be able to move like a lot of figures do, even smaller figures. So again, kind of a disappointment to see that not here in such a large masterpiece third party. So you only get like about this much before you have to start spreading his legs out. That said, you can't even spread his legs out very much. I can't even get one ratchet on mine without running into interference from these tires. You can move these tires like they're on a swivel, that you can move it down like this if you'd like, or you can actually move it back as well. I kind of like it towards the back as opposed to the official kind of straight up. And that will allow you to get 1 click, maybe 2. If you start spreading the legs out forward and trying to get different angles, then you'll get some more range. But as far as just straight up trying to get things out, it's really hard to do. See, I'm actually out more than the left side, but getting that from a straight position is actually kind of hard. The other thing with the legs is that you can see a gap forming here, and that's because there is a thigh rotation that's ratcheted, but that causes a lot of issues here. So if you try to move the leg from the lower part, you're gonna start seeing a gap there. And this one, I don't know what's going on with this leg here. I can't actually get it to ratchet back down. But yeah, that has me concerned. I think there could be potential damage issues, and it's just kind of unsightly as well to have a gap there. It's not that bad when he's actually standing in place, but I gotta imagine there's some kind of stressing going on. So when you do try to get as little articulation as this guy comes with from his hips, try to grab up here by the joint, as hard as that may be. Alright. Going outwards, we already did that. Going backwards, he has a lot of range of motion. He can go really far out. So yeah, the one kind of articulation piece that's really good is the one you probably will use the least. His thigh, like I said, does have a ratcheted swivel. I don't know why they felt the need to do ratchets there. I would rather have actually foregone any kind of ratchets here and had this be a solid piece. But yeah, that's what they chose to do. The knees again are die cast. You can go ahead and bend those. Nice 90-degree bend. And the feet. Yeah, see, I feel like I'm missing something here. I thought this was supposed to tab in, but it does not do anything for me. So the feet are on, I think, a ball joint somewhere deep inside here. Yeah, it's actually on the side here, which is kind of interesting. So there's a ball joint that gives you a little bit of wiggle. And some forward and back on this hinge here. And he does have a weird toe piece. It's kind of like MP4L. There's Datsuns where it's kind of a space filler. And that's on a separate ball joint. And you can move that to kind of fill in the gaps depending on how you're posing. And I think that's about it. So he doesn't have like a ankle turn, but he does have that ball joint, which gives him a little bit of articulation down there. But yeah, that's really it for robot mode in terms of articulation. Again, really good in the upper body. They definitely took lessons from advanced projects there and improved that, but then they kind of fail at the hips here, which I think, honestly, that's probably a bad trade-off in my opinion. I think you should probably have better hips than shoulders, but that may just be me. Before we get too far, let's go ahead and look at the accessories. Again, you have a gun, and he has a little handle here, but actually you're supposed to flip that forward. Has a couple of ridges here that correspond to kind of a Y cutout in his hand. And you don't actually need to use that if you want. If you don't want, you can just throw that in, and it holds it really well. But if you want to get a really secure hold, go ahead and slot that into the Y piece there. And no issues with looseness of joints, except maybe the shoulders here, the hinge, the pinned part there. I think that's a little loose, but not a deal breaker by any stretch. Alright, so before we get in transformation, let's do some quick comparisons. We'll go ahead and bring out MP10. People seem to have a problem with the size here, and others seem to point out that this is the correct scale for the Headmaster series. And I agree with them. This is definitely supposed to be more of a Headmaster's version of Chromedome than the original G1 cartoon season 3, last 3 episodes or whatever it was. So I actually like the scale. I do wish he were just slightly shorter than Optimus, as opposed to about head to head, or maybe even a little bit taller. And just because I have him, we'll bring in DX9's Carrie, who I have on loan, and he's a little bit shorter than MP10, so he's about just a tad bit shorter than Cupola. but I think it still scales pretty well. And because this is the only other Chromedome I have, there we have Fans Project's code. This is the original one, not the one with the, not the recent reissue with the more accurate colors, I guess, to the show, which would be more in style with Cupola. But yeah, he's tiny in comparison, and you can see the actual like proportions are much better on Cupola. He's always had kind of like a boxy chest, and then he has these kind of thin, spindly legs, thighs, and stuff like that, and kind of these weird flat feet. Not that Cupola's huge feet are better, just different. Alright. With that, let's go ahead and get into robot to alt transformation. First thing we'll do is deal with the Headmaster, so we can just take a look at him as well. So Chromedome's Headmaster, who is Chromedome, because the actual body is called the Transtector or something like that, and I never know how it's pronounced. But to transform him, you'll go ahead and untab the legs from the shoulders, and then bring the legs down. And then you'll unpeg the arms, they're tabbed in to these little tiny triangles over there. Bring those out. Separate the legs with this big tab here. And last but not least, you're going to want to crunch the mask. Very similar to how the Fans Project's code worked. A lot more articulation overall. He has a tiny bit of light piping, which I think is kind of odd. This is actually a translucent piece. I think it's money that they probably could have spent elsewhere. He doesn't have any head articulation, unfortunately. He does have a ball jointed shoulder, and like his Transtector, he can raise his arms pretty high. He does have an elbow bend, which is good. I think Fans Projects didn't have that, I believe. And he has molded detail on the inside, but he still has this kind of armor side to the back of the arm. Ball jointed legs, hips, that is. He can't really go outward, but he does get a lot of forward and a little bit of back. He has a pin knee, and that's about it. But for a figure of this size, I think it's pretty good. I think Fans Project did a better job of hiding the face, and he also has a lot of hollowness going on in there. But he actually does have molded detail, which is different on each side, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, that's how you get him transformed. We'll go ahead and get him situated a little bit later, okay? Bring back the main body, the Transtector. We're gonna zoom out. And the first thing we're gonna do is deal with the feet. How the feet work are, the first thing you're gonna do is open up the back of the legs, like so, and flip out this piece. Then we're gonna basically point the toes. And the toes have tabs right here that go into this slot right there. So just rotate it down on the gray piece here, and that'll give you the room to tilt that in and tab it. Same thing on the other side, rotate that down and tab it in. Oops. So the foot ball joint just popped off here because I wasn't paying attention to it. It can do that, but it just pops right back on. Ow, that hurt. I just squished my finger. Okay, the legs are going to tab together, and then you're going to actually open these back pieces. You can do it now or later, it doesn't really matter. Oh, this piece fell off again. Sorry, I'm not really paying much attention to the back. That's why. I'm going to do it later just because they kind of flop around in the meantime, so let's just deal with that as we get to it. Next, we're going to get to the upper body. The upper body, we're going to deal with the fist first. We're going to rotate the fist so that they're palm up, and then you're going to use the pin joint to rotate them and lay them against the forearm, like so. Then you can collapse the arms, and I don't typically like sliding collapsible appendages with some minor exceptions, but this is actually one of those minor exceptions. It does work pretty well. You're also going to flip the shoulder pieces down like that. And then let's get back down to the main body. So the main body, you're going to rotate these wheels down, and you'll notice that these are actually on die cast pieces. They just roll around and they stop because there's a cutout here that keeps them in place, which is great. Next, what we're going to do is deal with the shoulders. So the shoulders are tabbed in two places. They're tabbed into this top gray piece, going this way and this way, respectively, into the die cast pieces here, which are also on the shoulder. And then the die cast pieces rotate downwards into these small side pieces here, which are kind of hard to see. So the easiest way to get out of that is to slightly pull outward on this to release it from the tab on the gray part, and then rotate it up to release it from the brown part. And from here you can untab the chest piece and rotate it down on each side, like so. You just have to get them out of the way for now. And then that will allow you to open up the chest, like that. Deep inside of here, you'll see that the back, can you see that? It's kind of hard to see in there. The back panel here is actually tabbed into both sides of this. You just want to push out just slightly. It's not tightly tabbed in. And that will free up the back. And then you can rotate, you will free up these sides, and these side pieces are tabbed into that center gray piece again. So just pull it outwards and untab that and rotate it down on another die cast piece. So again, pull it out to the side, rotate it down, and then this whole center section is die cast as well. From here, we're going to kind of expand everything. You're just going to extend like this, pulling up the back. You're going to extend twice here at this double hinge, and once more at this double hinge. So once you're fully extended, you have this long piece of cupola just hanging out. From here, we're going to go up to the upper body. I'm going to rotate this around so you can see a bit better. You're going to flip these pieces that are underneath. They were like so. Just flip them out like that. And then on this joint where the gray piece and the tan piece kind of meet, or brown piece, just rotate it 180 degrees. And this is going to start letting you form the main body. The one thing you're going to need to do last is rotate these shoulder pieces up and actually get the shoulders in like so. So you're going to want to rotate around and then rotate it in like that. And make sure these shoulder sockets are all the way in. So you'll have something that looks like, looks like this. Alright, making sure these pieces are still open. From here, you're going to go back on this center piece, rotate it at this base here. You're going to want to rotate it 180 degrees all the way around. Make sure the legs are straight. And flip up these pieces if you didn't accidentally flip them up during other transformation, or if you didn't flip them up earlier. You're going to rotate this all the way down, and these fists are going to go into those gaps here. There's going to be that die cast slot here, tab here. The long one is going to go into this long trough, and then there's going to be other places that kind of tab, and this is going to go into the centerpiece here. So just rotate that through. Remember to get the legs straight. So when you do that, you're going to rotate that up. These pieces are going to go into, these shoulder pieces are going to go into here. And then you just kind of have to finagle the arms through to make sure they go all the way through. You might have to apply a little bit of pressure, so you'll see the difference here. So this one's all rotated all the way in, and you won't see that gray piece. Now this one is rotated all the way in. Make sure all the pieces are flat. So you're going to need to get this shoulder piece into that slot, and what you need to do is go into the cockpit area, and that center gray piece, just press it down and in, and you'll hear it kind of snap into place. And that should get everything pretty much where you want it. You can go ahead and close up the legs and tab them in. There's 2 tabs, one here, not the legs, the feet covers, and here. And then we'll get that all done. Coming around to the front of the alt mode, there's going to be a few things you're going to have to deal with. Oh, actually, let's deal with this here first. So once you get the fist rotated in, you're going to tab this into the back of the fist. And not fully necessary, but it's nice that they found a way to secure it. And I don't remember what position these were in before. I think it was in this correct position before too, so you don't have to rotate it around or anything. Tab that in. Next, what we'll deal with is the console. So that console actually has tabs on the underside here that go right into the gray piece. You just tab that in as well. Alright, getting close to the end. We can close this up, but make sure that these side pieces remain out. Oh, actually, my mistake. This is going to tab into the side panels, so you actually need to do the side panels first. And the side panels have a few connectors. This T piece, this piece will go into this weird U piece, and then this tab will sit underneath this lip here. So it's a lot of things that you kind of just need to feel for. You can look at it from the bottom as well. That will help out with the center one. And it should be something like that. Same thing on the other side. Again, I look at it from the bottom to get that center one adjusted. All the other ones are kind of easy. There we go. And now that will allow you to bring the chest piece down. Before you do that though, you have to expand the chest. So it's on 2 sliding joints here. Just pull out slightly and you'll hear it click. And you can even visually confirm that it's all the way out here. Rotate this down, and this is going to tab here. Like that. Same thing on the other side. And if you do it correctly, this little tab here should go over that lip to even further secure that into place. Okay, working with the front, you're going to rotate these pieces in and tab this into that little small side piece right there. I'm going to go out to the underside of the car, use this double hinge and these small tabs to go into the slots here. Before we go ahead and finish, let's go ahead and get Chromedome situated. To get him into the seat, you're going to want to bend his knees at 90 degrees like this. And it actually will probably help to tab the legs together. Get the arms going forward, like he's in a driving position. It should look like this from the side. And then you're going to just slide him in there. And he'll fit right in. And he has a passenger seat for the lady headmasters, of which I don't think there are any, but you know, you never know when you're in space. And then you can just close up the hood of the car, and that'll go right under this lip. And yeah, there we have them. We have Cupola all transformed in alt mode. A couple of things. You can go ahead and take his guns, and the handles were out like this before for the gun mode. Just rotate that back. You'll have these smaller ones. And to mount them, I guess you could theoretically mount them this way on the roof like this. But official transformation actually tells you to pull this out, which I didn't do before. Put it out like that and tab them in towards the rear, and that is more accurate anyway. So sorry about that. So then now we have Cupola all transformed into alt mode. And he looks really good. He looks much better than Code's alt mode. I like the painted details that we see here. I should have pointed them out in the robot mode review, but there's a lot of really nice painted detail. Like this is two-tone, there's a silver and a darker silver or gray, there's blue kind of headlights, the very iconic Chromedome chest details. Nice smoky, translucent windows and windshield. Nice chrome wheeled again, and the rubber wheels. The back is pretty clean as well. So overall, he's a lot cleaner than Code, which I'll transform in a bit and show off. On the bottom, he does have the whole leg action going on. So when people first saw the bottom of this in promotional photos, it looked like just one piece that just folded in half, because the chest is here and the legs are here. It just kind of looked like you just folded it straight, but as you can see, this was actually a pretty complex transformation, which is why it took so long. Alright, before we get back into robot mode, let's go ahead and show off some comparisons. So let's go ahead and bring out an MP Lambor, or Sideswipe, as you may better know him as. You can hear the rubber squeaking on Cupola. I still have a hard time saying Cupola. This sounds weird to me. Alright, let's get him out the way. And I went ahead and transformed Carry for you, DX9 Carry. Again, just because I have him. Just for length comparison, they're close to the same length. Cupola has a little bit on him, but as you can see, the scale doesn't really work particularly well, just because Cupola is fairly large for an alt mode, and Carry is fairly small for an alt mode. So I think you get the idea. But for another Chromedome comparison, again, let's bring out Code, Fans Project Code. He's a wee version of Chromedome compared to Cupola. He's nearly half the overall length. In terms of width, he's like 50% wider. But still, kind of cool comparison to do. The colors are pretty much spot on for both of these. You can see there's some more like detail here, but again, this looks really great. A lot less noticeable kibble. Like I think it's more panels just covering up some of the arms back here. I do like the guns just because they have some more painted detail. I didn't point it out before, but there is some blue inside the scope here of that gun, and that's the only detail. I would have liked a little bit more, but yeah, I think that's really it for the comparisons. Let's get him out of the way, and let's get Cupola transformed back into robot mode. So robot mode transformation, let's go ahead and pull these out. Get them off to the side. You're going to bring this up, tab it in like so. Then we're going to kind of work on the front. We'll go ahead and untab this, bring it all the way back down, make the crotch piece. We'll go ahead and open him too. And I guess I didn't do this before, and I'll go ahead and interrupt the transformation. Let's go ahead and get the Chromedome from Fans Project, just so you can see the difference in size. Transformation is by and large the same, but the size is much different. And you can see that the arms on Fans Projects are red, which I think is more show accurate. I don't remember. And he does have quite a bit more paint details, given that he's much smaller. Alright, more articulation here. He really just has pins for joints. But yeah, let's go ahead and get him out of the way for now. Sorry for that break in transformation. Let's zoom out a bit as well. Okay, where was I? Okay, so I opened that up, brought this out, untabbed it from the side here. Then you're going to deal with the hood. And the hood, again, remember there's this lip comes over top of that and it's pegged in down here. So you kind of want to pull this out and up, free it up like that. That's probably the easiest way to get at it. It's a little tough to reach in here, I found. There we go. And then once you do that, you can pull these side panels down as well. Alright, we'll just get the hood out of the way for now and collapse that in. So again, looking at these two joints, just slide that in. And you'll hear a definitive click. This you can just leave down for now. We're going to go ahead and untab these sections on the console, or the dashboard, whatever you want to call it. Open up the rear here, and then come around to the bottom, untab these little foot pieces that were tabbed into the fist. And here, you should be able to just push out on the fist and release the whole kind of upper body section. Again, using this joint here, the die cast is, you're going to just extend everything kind of out and forward. Oops, sorry. Don't want to break the figure. We're supposed to bring this down to the side. Alright, let's get that back into place. So yeah, that allows you to bring the die cast piece all the way forward like that. Give me 1 second, I want to lift the camera up just a bit. I can see I keep going off the top of the screen, I don't want to keep doing that. Alright, so going to the upper body, remember these shoulders, just rotate them kind of outward. And on that ball joint, to get them out like that, and close these up. Since we're here, let's go ahead and transform the arms. Just extend them out, pull the fist forward and rotate those 90 degrees so that they're facing the correct way. Again, on this side, pull them out, rotate this down, that'll tab in and rotate it forward. Alright. These little ball joint things keep falling off. I don't know why. I haven't had problems with that, but I think it's because I'm trying to transform this on camera for the most part. While we're up here, let's go ahead again, using this joint here, just rotate that around 180 degrees to get it back in the correct section. And then from here, we're going to collapse all this. So this one, using the double hinge, is going to collapse in on itself there. That forms the back. Oh, top, and then this part forms the back. And then here you also have another double joint, double hinge that collapses in that die cast piece, like that. Alright. Next thing we're going to do is come to the back and rotate these pieces in like that. Now for the upper body, we're going to first rotate these pieces up on the side and tab that into those small tab holes right back here. Just tab in from the side, and that just kind of secures the upper body in place. Here we go. And the two folded up sections here will tab in right there on each side. It's hard to see, you kind of need to feel your way through from the front and you'll see them tab in. Next we'll fold up the chest. Make sure to get these out of the way for now. Alright, and now we're going to deal with the upper body. As I said before, it has two tabs that really secure it. This tab on the die-cast piece right there, and then this tab here on the gray piece is going to go onto the inside. So I find it easier to actually rotate this small side piece up first, rotate this tab in, and then push this gray tab in like that. And then you have a solid shoulder. So once again on this side, rotate this small piece in like so. Just get it kind of into place. This also tabs in right there. You may be able to see it. Sorry, I'm doing a terrible job right now. It's on the inside. There's a tab here that goes into the side. But you just want to get that kind of positioned close. We'll rotate the die-cast piece in to that slot. Sorry, can't. There we go. And then go ahead and rotate the tab the die-cast piece in there. There, and you have most of the upper body done. You can just flip the roof down. Going down to the lower body, pretty easy. Let's go ahead and reattach these ball jointy things that I keep popping off. Obviously you don't need to do that for transformation, I just am terrible about doing that. So once you have that, just make sure that the gap here is positioned so you can get through here like that. And then you can untab the toes or the feet. Remember there's a tab going into this tan section here, so you want to separate that and rotate it down. And get the foot kind of positioned. It just floats. There's no securing of that foot piece. Again, very much like MTRM-01. And then go ahead and rotate this down. Rotate this into the cab, and that kind of tabs right there. And same thing for the other side. Rotate this down. Untab the foot right there. Rotate it forward. Fold this down. Fold that into the leg itself. Have that tab in. And there we have Cupola mostly back in robot mode. His transtector at least. Rotate this up just a bit more. And then we'll get back to the head, Chromedome. You'll just peg in the two legs together with that tab. You're going to want to basically crunch it up like this. These two tabs on the knees will go into the shoulders. Actually, I should show you the other one first. So these small triangles here, just zoom in to show you. So there's a small triangle right there, and the slot on the inside of his forearm, and that tabs in. And then you can go ahead and tab in the knees. Again, depending, I hope that was on camera, it might not have been. Again, depending on how you look at it, you can actually see up inside the helmet, which is a bummer. So I just kind of try to tuck that down as much as possible to minimize that gap. Depending on how you want his neck to articulate, and if you want to look down, you'll have it like this. If you want to look up, you'll flip this section or rotate it all the way around. You just plug that in, and then you can have him look down. You can flip it the other way if you want him to look up. And that's really it for the review, everyone. Final thoughts. I really like this guy. I don't think he's a perfect figure, and my code is not going anywhere because he's just really, really fun. And I like fans projects, transformations, and that whole line is just really, really fantastic. But I'm really, I didn't rotate these up. You can rotate the wheels up here. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think this is a really great line. I was a little hesitant about having to collect another line of Headmasters, but Masterpiece is the scale I predominantly collect. So this was a welcome addition to my collection, given the size, given the cool transformation that is different, and I think overall, just the overall look that really does encompass the Headmaster series, which I think these are, I mean, that's where these guys really shined. While there are some issues with the quality, like this gap here and the lack of articulation, which is, I guess, not a quality issue, just a design issue. And for these foot panels, at least on mine, they just don't do anything. There should have been a small tab or something like that to hold these in place. And maybe I'm missing something, maybe I'm not. I thought at first this tab could kind of like rotate in here, but it does not seem to do that. Yeah. But other than that, and then maybe if they had another folded piece that would cover this up. I mean, they're very minor issues to me. But yeah, I do not regret picking this guy up. I'm looking forward to their Iron Will, their hardhead that's going to be coming out, just so I can start building out this masterpiece line of Headmasters. If you have any questions or comments, or if you caught me making a mistake or correction that you want to provide, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and share it along with your friends and other fellow collectors. If you want to keep up to date with all my news and reviews, go ahead and click the subscribe button here, and go ahead and like me on Facebook at P4L Reviews. And last but not least, if you want to add this guy to your collection, go ahead and click on the Toy Dojo link in the comment section, description below, not comment section, description below, and you can add him to your cart. He is in stock and shipping, so very, very great figure. I hope you guys like him as much as I do, and yeah, hopefully this video helped you out. Alright, thanks a lot everyone, have a good one.